Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. This week I've been doing different folds for cards after a lady had requested how to know how to do a different fold and what kind of easy different folds there were. I had a look through videos that I've already made and I have done quite a few different folds on those, but I'm trying to do some different ones for you, so that it might be one that you haven't seen before or one that you've seen and thought, oh yeah, that's a really easy one to do, I'd forgotten about that one. So today's, I'm going to use the Good Morning Magnolia stamps and the DSP that matches it, and I'm going to make, we used to call them pillar box cards when I was in England, because they looked a bit like a mail-in box, like a post box. And you would call them pillar boxes or post boxes, and they would have that little slot in there for you to put all your cards and things in, and then the mailman would come and get them and take them away. But I've also seen it just called a rectangle box, and it's made from just half a piece of cardstock, and it will fold flat so that it goes in an envelope. And it's a really easy card to make, and so I thought, let's do this one. I haven't done it for a while and I've never done it on a video. So the first thing you're going to need is a piece of cardstock, and all I've done is cut our main cardstock in half, and that gives you a piece of card that is 5.5 by 8.5. And we're going to score this at 2 1/8. So we're going to go across, let me just pop that down so you can see. And then let me find my poker tool. So we're going to go to the 2, and remember each of these little lines is 1/16. So you're going to go on the second line. So a 16th and 1/8. So we're going to score it at 2 1/8. I'm just measuring it up there. Score. Next one at 4 1/4. So 4, and then it will be 4 little lines all the way to 1/4. And then the next one is at 6 3/8. But rather than extend the arm on here, all I do is I cheat. I turn my card round and I do it again at 2 1/8. So 2, 1/16, 1/8. So the second little line. And that's exactly the same as if I'd opened the arm and done it at 6 3/8. I'm going to put those little numbers there so you can see what I'm doing. And then with the other piece that's left, we need a strip that's 1 inch wide to use as a connector, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. And I find it easier just to put the whole piece in, use the measurement guide on the right hand side this time, line it up at 1/2 inch and score, move it all the way across to 1 inch and cut. And I think that's easier than cutting a piece 1 inch and then trying to get it in here and hold it still and try and score it at 1/2 inch. So this is just a 1 inch by 5.5 inch piece scored down the middle at 1/2 inch. And that's all I need that for at the moment. So let's get that out of the way. So we've now got our base piece, and I should have said this was petal pink, and our connector piece. And then you need your DSP, and I've chosen some of the Good Morning Magnolia, the Magnolia Lane Suite, and it's got this on the back and I'm using this side, and I've cut a piece. I cut one continuous piece, but then I cut it into 3 just so that my pieces would match as they went along. Okay. Some pieces of DSP you don't need to match up, just that this one I like it when all the leaves go together and everything matches. So the DSP you need 3 cut at 5 1/4 by 1 7/8, and then you need a white piece cut exactly the same, 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. You can attach these now before you start to fold, which is what I'm going to do, or you can fold first and then attach them It doesn't matter which. But let's find some fast fuse, and I'm just going to tape these on. Now, if you didn't want to use DSP, you could use another layer of card, or you could emboss a piece, oops, missed that, sorry. Or you could emboss a piece of card and use that so you had a texture. It doesn't have to be a pattern that's on there. I'm trying to video quickly this morning because it's going to rain very soon. I can see over in the distance it's very, very grey, and I don't want to be videoing when it's thundering and lightning. Okay. By gluing them on this way, I find I can match up the tops and the bottoms easier. But I know some people, you know, they will have it all folded and then start to glue. But just for me and for my eyes, it makes it easier for me to see. There we go. Now, I'm not going to attach the white piece yet because we're going to stamp on that one. So I will add that one later. Just going to pop my glasses on. Okay, so now we need our connector piece. We're going to fold these over on the score lines, and it's going to connect into a box. And our connector piece is actually going to be at the back of the card. So remember, I scored this 1-inch piece down. You can just see where the score line is now. I'm going to put tear and tape along here. And tear and tape is really easy for this because it sticks really well. You don't have to worry about, you know, glue oozing out or being in the wrong place. It just makes it an easy fold and an easy gluing. If you wanted to use wet glue, no, by all means, that works as well. But I find that I end up with bits squeezing out of the side. I'm going to take the tear and tape off one side, make sure I've got this fully folded. And then I'm going to attach it to the underneath of this back panel. And I find it easier to do it this way. Stick it on that way, or to have it this way and attach it up to the line. Let me show you both ways. So I'm going to make it go right up to the fold line. Glue it all across. And then you see I can still fold it. And then on the second piece, I find it easier to fold it inwards and then fold it like this so that I know it's going to fold flat for mailing. Sometimes if you do it like this, you only have to be, you know, a millimetre out, and it means the card won't quite fold flat. So the easiest way to do it is just to lay it flat. Almost like you would a gatefold card as well, so that you know you're getting it level and even in the middle. I don't know why I've got a little dint there. Let me just get my bone folder. There we are. Okay, so there's the base of our box. Got little fluffy bits on there because I need a new blade in my trimmer and I haven't been able to get any yet. But that's okay, I'll get some. Okay, so there we are. That's the base of our card. Now I'm going to put a decoration on the front, and for that I've used the First Frost. Remember I used this a few weeks ago and fell in love with these two dies. Well, this is what I'm using again today. I've cut this one out in white and I've cut this one out in petal pink. Let's pop that to one side. And then what I've also done is I've stamped a little hello on here. And because of the decoration I'm going to put on, I don't have much space on this. So I took this small hello from Beauty Abounds and just stamped it at the right hand side. And let's move this piece out of the way and get the next pieces. What I've used is the die set from Good Morning Magnolia. And we're going to make a little 3D magnolia. So I've used the smallest piece and I've cut out 2 in white. And with my petal pink ink and just a little sponge, I just very lightly sponged the middle. I haven't gone, you know, up to the edges or anything. I just wanted a tiny bit in the middle of each of them. I've also used the leaf dies that come in that set, and I've cut out a few of each in Mossy Meadow. And I used Mossy Meadow because it's the colour of the paper. And then I had a little bit of crushed curry, and I've used the little stamen piece from the same set, just taken one of those. And then I've got those fuzzy little caterpillar things, the Perennial Essence Floral Centres, and I've just got one of those. If you don't have these, what you can do is use one of the faceted gems, or you could just use this, put a little bit of Wink of Stella in the middle, and then it would still be pretty. Okay, so with the white pieces and your bone folder, I've just lightly curled the edges upwards. And then I'm going to stick this together with glue dots. I don't want it to be flattened by using glue. So I'm just going to use a glue dot and put these so that the petals overlap each other, just to make that magnolia. If you wanted to make the bigger magnolia, there is a larger die in here as well. So you can do the smaller ones and then a bigger piece at the back so that it looks like it has more petals. But for this, I don't want it to be too big. And my magnolia is going to go just on the edge here. But I want to make sure that I can also see some little leaves sticking out, like this. So I'm going with a glue dot again, I'm just going to put these on the edge of my paper, on the edge of my little frame here. So I'm just going to hold this where I want it, oops, and then stick that in and just stick it down. You could glue it to the flower as well if you wanted. Okay, I just need to make sure that I don't stick my flower over my hello. I just want another little one. Let's put this out. So we've got 3 little leaves on there. No, I want it to go near this magnolia, near this leaf here. Oh, glue dot stuck on my finger instead. So I'm actually just going to glue that onto the leaf instead. Okay. So now I am just going to use a little bit of wet glue on this, just because I like wet glue when it's sticking sort of paper to paper. It just bonds the fibres a little bit better sometimes. And I don't want it to move off. So I'm just going to hold it there for a second. And if you find that, you know, it's a little bit too near to your sentiment, with wet glue, you do have time just to move it a little bit. Now, if you didn't want to put a sentiment on here, you could put your flower right in the middle and put your sentiment on the back. Okay, now I'm going to attach it to the little backing piece of petal pink. It's going to be a bit tricky to see. There we go. And then with a glue dot again, I'm going to put the little stamen in. And then these little fuzzy caterpillar pieces, they've got a little dimensional on the back. So you just take the backing off and stick them in. They do look very pretty, actually. I wasn't sure when I first ordered them. Oh, they're funny sort of texture, but you know, they look just brilliant. Okay, so that's going to be our label for the front of the card. Now when the card's stood up, the label is going to stand off, but it's really difficult to attach it using dimensionals or glue or anything. So the way to do it is to have little circles. And with my 1-inch punch and the same colour as the backing card, the petal pink, I cut out 2 little circles and I scored it down the middle. And then I folded them in half, like that. And I'm going to attach them either side of this fold, like this. And I want them to stay on there, so I'm going to put them on with Tombow. If you put them on with a glue dot, I've found that it's not strong enough. And if you put them on with tear and tape, you don't actually get as much glue on there as you need. Okay, so I've put it on, and then I'm going to fold my card the other way just so that I can hold that and help it to stick. And then the other one, I'm going to put glue on the back. And I'm going to make sure that it matches, it's in the same place. There we go. I'm not sure what the scientific term is for a little holder like this, but it means that when you put this on, it just stays on these 2 pieces, and because you've got the folded circle there, the fold can sort of open a bit and it'll still fold flat, or it'll open again. Now, I'm going to put glue on the top here, and we'll attach that label to the front. Now if you don't have that first frost set with the little label I used, you could use something like your stitched rectangles and choose 2 that are, you know, one slightly bigger than the other, or ovals or circles or squares if you have any of those dies. If you have a tag topper punch, you could do exactly the same. Have a rectangle, use the tag topper on each end, and then the next piece just cut slightly bigger. Lots of different ways to do it. Okay, now I've got my glue ready here, and I'm just going to line this up so it looks fairly central. Yep, that looks central to me. Ooh, she says, and now she's moved it. See what a good job it is I used the liquid glue? Otherwise that would have been all cockeyed. Okay, so now can you see how it's going to stick out just slightly from the card, but it means you can fold it and have it flat for posting, and then when the recipient has it standing up, it's going to stand off. I don't know how's best for you to see it, but it's going to stand off and really pop. Okay, so the last thing to do for our pillar box card is the piece on the back. And remember, we cut the one piece the same as the DSP. If you had put your flower or your stamped flower in the middle here and you didn't have a sentiment here, you could put your sentiment on the back and stamp some of the flowers. And what I did was I used this small flower from here and this small leaf, and I didn't want the sentiment because I had one on the front. I just stamped at the bottom. I coloured in. I don't have Mossy Meadow blends, but this is the Old Olive Dark, and I think it matches really well enough. And again, I just sponged very lightly with the Petal Pink, and that's the piece I'm going to have for the back. I wanted a little space to write, so I only just put a couple of leaves up there just to match in with these leaves and to fill in some of the white space. Okay, I'm going to fold that flat. I'm going to make sure I've got my card lined up with my DSP there. Just let me put it across a little bit. There. And there we are, that's it. So it's a little easy fold, one that you might have done before, but if not, it's a really easy one to learn. So I hope you liked that, and I look forward to meeting you all again on Wednesday when I have another fold for you that I haven't ever videoed before. If you like watching my videos, and I know that lots of you do, please think about subscribing. That would mean a lot to me. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I only have a couple of hundred left to go, and I would really love to be able to get to 1,000. And when I do get to 1,000, I'm going to send out I'm going to do like a little random draw and send out some gifts to people who have subscribed. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you all again next week. Bye everyone.